Can you please present to us on this matter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is for subject property at 3876 Foddy. This matter was postponed by the board from their October meeting. And I have some slides at the front of the room. This is an area of the neighborhood. This neighborhood is located south of Waddles and west of Crooks. The property is essentially in the middle of the screen, outlined in red. This is a zoning overlay of the neighborhood, and everything you see in red, including the everything you see in yellow, including the subject property, is zoned single-family residential, and this property to the north and the west, the east that's in purple, is zoned neighborhood node, which is a combination of residential, commercial, and office uses. Now, this is a close-up of the property. The subject matter involves, in addition to the rear of the property that I've outlined in red, and this is a survey outlining the location of a proposed sunroom addition. They want to add an addition and similar to this. Now, the zoning ordinance says that any additions to the home must be set back from the rear property line at least 45 feet. This addition, as proposed, is going to be 37 feet from the rear property line. So in order to proceed, they're seeking relief from the board. I'll turn it back over to the board for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Is there a member of the board who'd like to be recognized at this time? Seeing none, we'll call the petitioner forward. Please come to the microphone, the podium, and identify yourself. And if you're not the petitioner, please establish your relationship to the petitioner.
Hi, I'm Mr. McVeigh. I'm with Mr. Enclosure. We were here, good evening. We were here last month and we were postponed. So we thought we had made the practical difficulty on the lot, showing about the zoning. So we're here tonight. Yes, we want to move forward with a vote on this and get a decision.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a member of the board that has something for this petitioner's representative? Mr. Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see that we have on our desks tonight the email communication for Mr. Shahayev from Choice Properties, indicating that he has, or their company has no objections now to the variance request, which was one of the questions I had last month. So I appreciate you getting that information.
Yes, that is correct.
Hey, is there another member of the board? Mr. McCauley.
I don't know if you can answer this or the homeowner can answer this. As I looked at the different lots within that subdivision, I saw that most of them had pretty much, at an eyeball look, the same setbacks to the rear as that house. I look at it and say, if we grant this variance, how many other people would have to come forward to get that variance to be able to be within, to go within that 45-foot setback? Because I want to know if his lot's uniquely disadvantaged by the street opposed to the other ones, or is it similar? I'm thinking, because when I look at it, I think he's disadvantaged in the front but not in the back. And I didn't know if he, as he looked at it and said, yes, that I've researched these homes, and I look at it and say 80 out of the 100 can, as an example, 80 out of the 100 can fit a structure in the back without having to come for a zoning variance because of their setback. Has he done any of that due diligence on that, you know?
I have not personally, as the homeowner, I can't speak. Have you? I don't believe he has, where he's actually looked to see what number would be there. What the proportion would be with, you know, what you're asking.
Yeah, as I'm looking at it, because if we have a look at that home and look at all the other homes in there, because he's asking for something that I did not find any other structures on the back of homes, any sunrooms added. They all had patios, decks, or something to that effect, no sunrooms. So he would be the first one in that area. And my question is it because that they don't fit and that's what's been the standard there, or is it because that nobody's just built one but they have the space to do it?
Well, the space is, as that lot was zoned in, was it R1, I believe, that they typically zone them with 15,000 square feet a lot, and this was in the 14s. And there is another one that we've done in the neighborhood, so they are becoming, you know, more, people are starting to show more interest. The decks have probably been on the home since they were built. They're finding they're not using them, they're wasted space. What do we do to upgrade it? So, you know, sunroom's always a good option.
Okay, so you have done a sunroom in a house in that area?
In that subdivision, yes, correct.
Okay, did you have to come to the zoning board?
I did. I came to the zoning board.
So you came and got that approved through the zoning board at that time?
Yes.
Okay, is by any chance that lot up there? Because I'm, you know, off the top of your head? You're helping
Yeah,
me.
it's 1228 Rothwell. It's just off the map there, Mr. McCauley.
Oh, just to the left.
It's that one right there that's getting cut off.
Okay. I appreciate your information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other member of the board for this petitioner's representative? Seeing that there isn't, if you could have a seat, sir. Thank you very much. So I'm going to call on Vice Chairman Agawas and ask if he has any other communications related to this matter that we haven't
Yes.
reviewed yet.
We've talked about the one I'm aware of. Omar Shuhabib from Choice Properties has no issue with the sunroom addition.
Okay, thank you. And since we already had the public hearing, we're all set with that when it was properly noticed to the general public, both on the city's website and the postcard mailings at the previous meeting. Is there a member of the board that would like to be recognized on this matter?
Okay, please.
Mr. Eisenbacher.
We discussed this one quite a bit at the last meeting, and the concern at that point in time is the communication we had from Choice Properties, who's the property owner to the rear, was not in favor of it. They've since come back, they've reviewed the details. They do not have, in his words, after speaking with Mr. Sharma, we have no issues with the sunroom addition. Looking at the neighborhood, how the street was laid out with the curve, how the lot was placed, I don't see problems with the, let me get to the, to our list of criteria, the statement of practical difficulty. I don't see a problem with any of our 5 criteria. The exceptional characteristic for the property is the irregular shape of the street and the curve. The second item, the B, it is for this property. C, it's not of a personal nature. D, characteristic that makes compliance possible was not created by the current or previous owner. And E, the proposed zoning variance, or the proposed variance will not be harmful or alter the essential character of the area in which the property is located. I believe that's also true based on the information provided. So with that in mind, I would move the variance for approval.
There's a motion for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Vice Chairman Agawa seconds. In any discussion a member would like to have, or members? Seeing that there isn't any discussion, Mr. Evans, we're prepared for a vote.
Mr. Eisenbacher.
Yes.
Mr. McCauley.
Yes.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes.
Mr. Kaltsunis.
Yes.
Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Mr. Agawas.
Yes.
Motion is agreed to. You have your variance. Have a very good night. We now move on to item number 6. Mr. Evans, are there any communications for this board?
You've all received a copy of Board Member and Planning Commission Member Koopa's resignation. And the other communication I have is just the public notice copy for our 2019 Board of Appeals meeting dates. And if now or at any time in the future, any board member identifies any conflict, perhaps with a holiday or something like that, just let us know. But we think we've hit the mark here.
Okay. I just have one question for Mr. Motzny. So, Mr. Motzny, does this communication from Ms. Koopa establish that she's no longer a member of this board? Because the way I interpret this first sentence, I am stepping down, which I don't know if that means I'm doing that in the future or I have done that. And I know that the legislature's sworn in on January 1st. I know that there's traditionally, other even informal swearing-ins in the end of December, but it seems like this is very open-ended, and I don't know what your your area of expertise would state here, because I know that City Council would be replacing her eventually on the Planning Commission. I'm just curious if that it's going to be sooner or later, or?
Well, her correspondence says she's stepping down immediately.
I don't see immediately there. Well, I guess it's later in the, yeah, yes.
As far as the new appointment to the Planning Commission, I mean, there's a couple of things that has to happen. The Planning Commission has to make a recommendation for their ZBA representative, and then that representative has to be approved by City Council. It doesn't necessarily have to be the new Planning Commission.
Right, sure.
And then, of course, then a new Planning Commission needs to be appointed to the Planning Commission. So when that's going to take place, I don't know the answer. So.
Very good, thank you. Anyone else on the communication we received? Otherwise, we can move on to item number 7, miscellaneous business. Mr. Evans, do we have any?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. At this point in time, I'm going to open up the public comment to anyone who would like to address the board on any matter. Please proceed to the podium and be recognized. There's a member of the public that would like to address the board on any matter during public comment. Please proceed to the podium, and I will recognize you. Seeing that there isn't anyone interested in that portion, I'm going to close that public comment out. Is there any other comments or business that a member of the board would like to bring to our attention? Mr. Lambert.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to, she's not here, so we can't congratulate her, but congratulate Ms. Koupa on her election and elevation to the state legislature, and thank her for her service on here for the past couple of years.
Any other member? I think I just want to take a quick moment to recognize that we have a young man in the audience who's here to work on service towards what is it, Mr. Eisberg? Merit badge for the Boy Scouts, which is now called the Scouts. And he's in the audience, and he is Mr. Eisenbacher's son. This is the second son that's come to this board to work on his merit badge as far as sitting through the exciting proceedings here. But we welcome you, thank you, and Godspeed to you as you proceed forward towards your very rewarding experience with the Scouts. Without any further business, I'm going to adjourn the meeting, and we'll see everyone in December. We're adjourned.